Let's be honest for a second, we have all been there. You unlock your phone, open a social media app, and suddenly you are staring at a wall of text so massive, so dense, and so utterly overwhelming that your brain just decides to clock out for the day. It's the digital equivalent of someone cornering you at a party to explain their entire genealogy. Well, on Thursday night, Seth Meyers was all of us. During his signature A Closer Look segment on NBC, the late-night host didn't just report on Donald Trump's latest social media activity. He had a full-blown, relatable, hysterical meltdown over it. And honestly, it was the catharsis we didn't know we needed until we watched him scream at a graphic on the screen. If you missed the segment, grab your popcorn and settle in, because Seth absolutely lost it over what might be the longest, most chaotic post in the history of Truth Social. The calm before the storm. Seth started the segment with that classic deadpan delivery we know and love. He set the stage by bringing up the recent, and massive, news that both the House and Senate voted to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is huge news, right? It's the kind of headline that usually warrants a serious, carefully worded response from a political leader. So Seth leaned into the camera, putting on his best serious news anchor face. He joked that President Donald Trump was handling this news very calmly. He claimed Trump had written a very concise and thoughtful post about the situation. For a split second, if you've never watched Late Night before, you might have believed him. But then, the graphic appeared on the screen. The wall of text that broke Seth Meyers. "I'm just king with you, look at how long this is," Seth bellowed, his voice cracking with a mix of disbelief and hilarity. The image on the screen wasn't just a post, it was a novella. It was a terms of service agreement. It was a CVS receipt of grievances. The text was so small and the paragraph so long that it looked less like a social media update and more like the fine print on a pharmaceutical commercial. "Is there no character limit on Truth Social?" Seth screamed, throwing his hands up. And then came the joke that absolutely leveled the audience because of how painfully relatable it was. We all have that one relative, right? Seth didn't hold back. "I haven't seen something that long and incoherent since my mom accidentally had voice-to-text on while she had a conversation with our neighbor, Linda." Can we just pause to appreciate that imagery? We can all picture it. The phone in the pocket, capturing every every bit of gossip about the homeowners association, and every complaint about the weather, resulting in a 3-page text message sent to a confused son. That is exactly the energy Seth channeled when looking at Trump's latest rant. It was chaotic, it was unedited, and it was endless. Gaslighting or alternative facts. Once Seth recovered from the sheer visual shock of the post, he decided to actually dive into what it said. And folks, this is where the A Closer Look segment does what it does best. It cuts through the noise. In this sprawling block of text, Trump made a pretty bold claim. He insisted that he was the one who asked House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass the bill to release the Epstein files. He positioned himself as the champion of transparency, the guy pushing for the truth to come out. Seth's reaction: a hard, swift reality check. "No, you didn't," Seth retorted, dropping the comedy for a split second to look directly into the lens. "Don't try that move where you say, as everyone knows, in hopes that we're all going to say everyone, but I didn't know. Am I out of the loop?" It's a classic psychological trick, isn't it? If you say something with enough confidence and claim that everybody knows it, people start to doubt their own memories. But Seth wasn't having it. "Everyone knows the opposite was true," Seth fired back, "because we saw it with our own eyes. The receipts don't lie. This is why we love late-night hosts who do their homework." Seth reminded the audience of the actual timeline, which in the fast-paced world of 24-hour news is easy to forget. The reality is that Trump spent months denying the Epstein files were even real. He famously called them a Democrat hoax, but it went further than just rhetoric. Seth pointed out that the Trump administration actually called Representative Lauren Boebert into a meeting in the Situation Room specifically to push her to stop supporting the discharge petition for the bill. So, to recap, he called it a hoax, tried to stop the bill, and then, once the bill passed, hopped on Truth Social to write a 5,000-word essay claiming he was the one who wanted it released all along. As Seth pointed out, the math just isn't mathing. It's the political equivalent of refusing to help cook dinner, complaining about the menu, and then taking a bow when the meal is served, shouting, "You're welcome, everyone." The Shakespearean turn. But the highlight of the segment wasn't just the fact-checking. It was the mockery of Trump's sudden attempt at sounding scholarly. Somewhere in that dense forest of words, Trump used the word respectively. He claimed he told the House and Senate, respectively, to release the files. Now, on the surface, that's just a word. But in the context of a frantic, all-cap style social media rant, it stuck out like a sore thumb. It felt like someone trying to hit a word count on a college essay by throwing in therefore and heretofore just to sound smart. Seth found this absolutely delicious. I also like when Trump starts using big words like respectively. Seth laughed. That's how you know he's spinning out. According to Seth, this is a tell. When the walls are closing in and the narrative is slipping away, the vocabulary suddenly shifts from MEYERS to Middle English. Seth then launched into an impression that can only be described as Shakespearean Trump. He imagined what the next post would look like if things got any worse for the former president. Heretofore, I have toiled many fortnights in quiet obscurity to secure the release of these most precious documents, Seth proclaimed in a hilarious, highbrow voice that clashed perfectly with his Trump impression. And make known henceforth that I was not friends with, and thus never visited Jeff and the island, respectively. Why this moment resonates? Why do clips like this go viral? Why do we tune in to watch Seth Meyers scream about character limits? It's because the news cycle is exhausting. It's heavy, it's complicated, and half the time, it feels like we're being gaslit on a global scale. When a public figure writes a post that is visibly unhinged and factually questionable, it can feel frustrating to watch the world just scroll past it. Seth Meyers acts as the audience surrogate. When he screams, "Is there no character limit?" He's voicing the frustration we all feel about the endless noise. When he cracks jokes about his mom's voice-to-text mishaps, he grounds a high-stakes political story in the comfortable reality of our everyday lives. He reminds us that it's okay to laugh at the absurdity of it all. In fact, sometimes, laughing is the only way to keep from spiraling ourselves. The verdict. If you haven't watched the video yet, do yourself a favor. It's not just about politics. It's a masterclass in comedic timing and a reminder that sometimes, the best response to a wall of text is just to scream, laugh, and move on. Seth Meyers continues to prove that late night is the place to be if you want your news served with a side of sanity and a heavy dose of sarcasm. What do you think about Seth's reaction? Do you have a relative who texts like they're writing a novel? Let us know in the comments below. We promise we'll read them, even if they're long.